The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zixthor's scales rippled with barely contained terror. On the holographic display before the assembled delegates floated images of Earth's latest military report, and what it contained defied every law of cosmic warfare that had stood for millennia. They drank it, the Krellian ambassador whispered, his four eyes blinking in asynchronous disbelief. For 300 cycles, the galaxy had known fear in its purest form. Hydro weapons. The ancient armaments were discovered in the ruins of the predecessor civilization, devices so devastating that merely possessing one could trigger interstellar incidents. Each weapon contained compressed dihydrogen monoxide in its most volatile state, capable of catastrophic molecular dissolution. Entire fleets had been lost to accidental exposure. Planets had been quarantined after contamination. The Vrex Dominion had tried to weaponize them first. Their greatest scientists died within hours, their cellular structures compromised beyond recognition. The technocracy of Andor built containment facilities that failed spectacularly, resulting in the abandonment of 3 colony worlds. Even the warrior species of Gormith Prime, who prided themselves on their imperviousness to conventional weapons, lost entire battalions to hydro exposure during training exercises. And now, humanity had done the unthinkable. Captain Sarah Chen stood before the council, her expression calm as she held up a transparent container, filled with the dreaded substance. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Several delegates activated personal shields. 2 Krellians fainted outright. This, Sarah said, swirling the liquid casually, is what you call a hydro weapon. We call it water. Madness. High Counselor Vrenthar rose from his seat, his tentacles writhing in agitation. Remove that abomination from this chamber immediately. Do you have any idea what will happen if that containment fails? Sarah smiled and with deliberate slowness unsealed the container. The chamber erupted in pandemonium. Alarms blared. Emergency bulkheads began to close. Half the delegates were already fleeing toward the exits. Then she raised the container to her lips and drank. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the alarm seemed to quiet in confused hesitation. Sarah lowered the container, wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, and addressed the frozen assembly. Approximately 70% of human body mass is water. We're born in it. We breathe moisture with every breath, and we literally cannot survive more than 3 days without consuming it. She paused, letting this impossible information sink in. What you call the most dangerous substance in the known universe is something human children play in during summer. Ambassador Zixthor's voice was barely audible. That's not possible. Our researchers documented complete cellular breakdown within minutes of exposure. We've seen it dissolve molecular bonds, compromise structural integrity, and— You're silicon-based, interrupted Dr. James Morrison, stepping forward from the human delegation. As are the Vrex, the Andorians, and the Gormath. Water is catastrophic to your biology. But humans? We're carbon-based life forms. We evolved in water, from water. It's not a weapon to us, it's life itself. The holographic display shifted, showing archived footage of the Krellian hydro weapon disaster. Proud silicon-based warriors dissolving as their molecular bonds failed upon contact with pressurized water streams. Then the display split, showing human children splashing in a fountain, laughing as they drenched each other with super soakers. You've been hoarding weapons, Sarah continued, that to us are toys. Counselor Vrenthar slowly lowered himself back into his seat. The predecessor vaults. There are 700 facilities across the galaxy, all containing massive stockpiles of hydro weapons. We've spent centuries trying to safely dispose of them, losing thousands of personnel in the process. We can help with that, Sarah said. In fact, we desperately want to help with that. Earth is experiencing severe droughts. Our colony worlds need terraforming. What you call weapons, we call the foundation of civilization. The implications rippled through the council like a shockwave. The Vrex ambassador was the first to speak, his photoreceptors dimming with what might have been embarrassment. When we first encountered your species, we assumed you were either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish for living on a planet where 80% of the surface was covered in weapons-grade material. We thought you were testing our resolve, added the technocracy representative, seeing if we would retaliate against such an obvious threat. Sarah laughed, a sound so unexpected that several delegates flinched. You thought Earth's oceans were a threat? We swim in them. We surf on them for recreation. We've been trying to figure out why every species we met seemed terrified of rain. Dr. Morrison pulled up another display, this one showing Earth's water cycle, agricultural irrigation systems, and industrial applications. Hydro weapons are the solution to virtually every human expansion problem. Colonization? We need water. Agriculture? We need water. Industry? We need water. You've been sitting on 700 vaults of exactly what we need to become a true spacefaring civilization. High Counselor Vrenthar's voice carried a note of cautious hope. You're proposing a trade? We grant you access to the predecessor vaults and you, what, remove the threat? We drink it, we farm with it, we build civilizations around it, Sarah confirmed. And in return, we offer you something you've never had. A species that can handle your most dangerous material with complete immunity. We can clean up your contamination sites, decommission your weapons facilities, and make safe what has been forbidden for millennia. The council chamber buzzed with furious discussion. Languages from 1,000 worlds overlapped as delegates debated this unprecedented situation. Finally, Vrenthar raised a manipulator for silence. In all my cycles serving this council, never has a solution seemed so obvious in retrospect. He looked at Sarah with something approaching wonder. We've been treating as weaponized death what you treat as a casual beverage. With ice, preferably, Sarah added with a grin. There will be contracts to negotiate, safety protocols to establish, and... Vrenthar paused, his entire body seeming to sag with relief. And for the first time in 3 centuries, hope that we might finally be free of the predecessor's curse. As the council session concluded, and delegates began the complex process of turning former enemies into desperate trading partners, Sarah Chen took another sip from her container. Somewhere, she thought, the predecessors were probably laughing at the cosmic joke they'd left behind. What one civilization feared as an ultimate weapon, another civilization needed for breakfast. Humanity hadn't conquered the galaxy through superior firepower or advanced technology. They'd done it by being willing to drink what everyone else considered apocalyptic. And that, Sarah decided, was the most human thing imaginable.